New breed, global truth.
We're seeking permanent income tax cuts all across the board.
Trump's plan to unalive the IRS just hit Congress. And if it goes through, it means no more income tax, no more payroll tax. And this is the actual bill right here. You can go to congress.gov and read it for yourself. And before you think this is a win for the people, let me go ahead and break it down for you on the board, because this is either going to help you stack more bread or it's going to leave you worse off than where you started. Here's how we're taxed right now. You make $100. The government is going to snatch 25% of that right off the top. What you're left with is $75. Then you go out and spend this on necessities like groceries, gas, whatever it is. This is called your sales tax. And this might be about 7% average across the country. Some states don't have sales tax. So you made $100, but at the end of the day, it really feels like you only made $69.75 because everybody is getting their money. So here's what it's going to be like under the new tax system, what they call the fair tax system. So you got your same paycheck of $100. Only this time, there is no taxes. Instead of an income tax, they're going to have a sales tax. And this sales tax is going to be about 23% inclusive. You're still going to end up with the final value of your money being $76.92. Now, don't let the 23% fool you, because that's marketing. Because in real life, that works out to about 30% at the register. So let's just say you were buying a TV that was $100. You're actually going to be paying about $130 out of pocket. So who wins and who loses? Well, the winners are going to be anybody who's making $120,000 a year or more, spending less than $50,000 a year. The losers are going to be anybody making less than $50,000 a year, and you're spending most of your money just to survive. You're going to feel that 30% tax on almost everything you touch. And considering the fact that the average household income is about $66,000 a year, we're likely going to have a lot more losers than winners. Now, before you flip out and start calling the president everything but a child of God, every month they're going to send you a check called a prebate based on your household size. What it's supposed to do is cover the sales tax you pay on things like food, rent, clothes, all the basic stuff. So if you got a family of 4, you get almost $800 a month, which comes out to about $10,000 a year, just to offset the tax on your basic needs. But once your spending goes over that line, you're back in the tax zone. Now, what actually gets taxed? So not taxed. Used items, rent, mortgage, insurance premiums, utilities in most states. I can probably guarantee that California and New York, they're going to be taxing us. Healthcare paid through insurance premiums. Education, this is a big one. Business expenses, might be a good time to start a business. And investments, always a good time to invest. Now, here's everything that will be taxed. So new electronics, new clothes, going out to a restaurant and meals. So I'm going to have to chill out on DoorDash. New cars, new homes, haircuts, personal services. Haircuts is already $100 for a cut. Might have to learn how to cut some hair. So if you're building something like a business, you're going to end up keeping a lot more of your money, because this bill, assuming it goes through, it's going to change the game for everybody. So don't get caught slipping out there, and don't wait till this becomes law and you're not prepared. So if you enjoyed this breakdown, go ahead and follow me for more and tag somebody who needs to know before they find out.
What's going on, everybody? It's your brother New Breed coming through with another live stream. I see Grace Hill in the building, Reese Israel, Tamika Buckley, Todd J, Sticky Fingers, Ahava, Gladiator. What's going on with y'all, man? Hey, big up yourselves, man. Hey, listen, every day above ground is a good day, man. So praise the Lord for that, right? Now, we got to talk about what's going on. I hope everybody has got their popcorn. If not, get it ready, because the new American Civil War is here. That's right. So it seems that there's been a mass mobilization worldwide. I'm talking about London, all over the States, Canada, everybody, everywhere. The Palestinians, everybody is rallied up against Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, and Elon Musk. And it's going to get real out here. Now, it's already gotten real, but look, I'm going to tell y'all like this. Either you're going to swim or you're going to drown. The reason why I make the material that I make is to give you all fervent and fair warnings so you can adjust your lifestyle, adjust things that you got going on in order for you to navigate when these things come to fruition. All right. Now, these tariffs are causing a lot of mayhem. I want y'all to see what's going on in the news.
Well, it's being billed as the biggest Trump protest ever, with more than 800 demonstrations expected across the country tomorrow, including here in Portland. The so-called hands-off protests are aimed at Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Demonstrators are expected to demand the Trump administration keep its hands off Social Security, First Amendment rights, and pretty much everything in between. Several groups, including Multnomah County Democrats and Oregon Physicians for Social Responsibility, will take part. Portland police said today they expect from several hundred people to as many as 2,000 to attend the Portland.
Now, I want you to keep in mind, I just went to Portland News, but there has been over 800 demonstrations. So, you can go to whatever state you want. They're all in unison, and it seems to be extremely organized. That's one thing that I noticed. I mean, this is who sent the email out? See, I question everything, bro. Who sent the invite? Who sent the email blast out that got all of these people? We're talking about 800 demonstrations worldwide, and they all saying hands off federal jobs. They all are in unison about what policies they're against. Like, how did this happen? Now, I got to question all these things. The authenticity seems a bit strange to me. All right. And I say that because I'm a watcher. I'm watching what's going on, and I'm breaking this thing down right down the middle. And if something gives me a red flag, I'm going to tell y'all, right? Somebody in the chat is highly intelligent, because I was thinking the exact same thing they said, and they just said it. This is pre-propaganda for war. This is war propaganda. And the war is going to come, and the war is here. And this has been in the makings for quite some time. I got to show y'all what's happening here. Now, first and foremost, the Bible says a land divided cannot stand. Now, how is it that right now, as we speak, Trump is talking about going to war with Iran, already in war with Iran, technically, while the radicalization of tariffs is in the mix, and the country is at war with itself? I mean, even Barack Obama came from out of nowhere, and he got some things to say. I mean, the land is divided. So we got to talk about this, because there was a book that came out, and I love to inform y'all, right? This book was written by Barbara F. Walter, and this book was called U.S. Heading for a Civil War. The book is called How Civil Wars Start. How Civil Wars Start. Now, I'm going to play this news brief, and we're going to go to Barbara F. Walters, and she did an interview, I believe it was back in 2023. And I want you to hear what she says, right? Because sometimes you can dig back, go to your sources, and then you can truly see what the narrative is. But let's finish this real quick.
Demonstration. After an hour of noontime speeches, the group plans to march from the
look how deep they are. And they like this everywhere, all over the states.
Waterfront on a 2-mile loop. And police say, based on their communications with organizers, they're optimistic that this will be peaceful.
They're optimistic that it'll be peaceful. And I've never seen 800 protests, demonstrations worldwide that were peaceful. How many of y'all have seen that? I never seen them so organized and so peaceful all over the world. This is interesting to me. What exactly is happening here? Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. These tariffs are going to continue to fan the fire. The fire is going to get fanned. The people are already in place. It's from what I'm seeing, right? But let's continue.
Assessed it. We're not concerned about it. We think it's going to be very peaceful and a great day for people to be outside, get their steps in, and be able to enjoy the weather.
Well, the downtown hands-off demonstration is one of several happening in the metro area, and more than 24 expect.
Let me say this. It had to take a whole lot of capital a whole lot of capital to orchestrate such a protest, man. I mean, everybody in unison, everybody peaceful, everybody is lockstep on what policies that they're protesting against. I have never seen anything like this. I don't know what shadow government organization is involved with this. I don't know who got these emails. Bro, this is wild to me. Now, they're playing us. This is controlled opposition. I'm telling you. They always playing us. Anything that airs worldwide like this, it has an agenda. You just got to be able to read between the lines and see what's going on, right? Now, I want to go to Barbara F. Walters. And she talks about her book here. And the book is called How Civil Wars Are Created.
Majority of the vote could lose political power. According to Walter, a new American civil war would likely be a war of insurgency fought by militias using guerrilla tactics, including terrorism. Those groups would avoid engaging directly with the military, instead targeting civilians, black churches, synagogues, federal judges they deem hostile. America, she warns, cannot afford to keep putting off this possibility. A subset of the country's population has long enjoyed privileges and power, and they're not going to let go without a fight. Some of them are not going to let go without a fight, she says. In her book, How Civil Wars Start and How to Stop Them, Walter writes, quote, "No one wants to believe that their beloved democracy is in decline or headed toward war. The decay is often so incremental that people often fail to notice or understand it, even as they are experiencing it."
And that is a strong statement right there. And that's what Barack Obama was talking about now. And in this recent video, he's talking about democracy failing and how basically we need more democracy. Look, I'm going to tell y'all like this. Everybody always asking me what side do I stand on? New Breed, are you a Democrat or Republican? Listen, I'm a biblical man. I go right down the middle. I choose not to fall for the Hegelian dialect. I don't feel as if I need to choose sides. All I need to do is observe what's happening, right? And what it looks like is the Democrats are giving a little, the Republicans are giving a little, and they're playing us in the middle, right here, us, the people. Example would be the Democrats will come with a policy regarding gay marriage. You know, the Republicans will push back against it, but then they will give a little bit of leeway. So you got the Democrats pushing gay marriage. The Republicans say, no, we don't want to do that, but you give them a little bit of leeway. So then eventually they meet each other down in the middle, right? And whatever policy they were really trying to orchestrate on the people, then we accept it through the Hegelian dialect, playing two sides against each other to get the people that you're playing in the middle. That's the government. You ain't heard? This is America, baby. Come on now. This is how it works. All right. Now, I want to make that very clear that that's where I stand with all of this. Now, she made some strong statements. Now, let's listen.
If you were an analyst in a foreign country looking at events in America the same way you'd look at events in Ukraine or the Ivory Coast or Venezuela, you would go down a checklist assessing each of the conditions that make civil war likely. And what you would find is that the United States, a democracy founded more than 2 centuries ago, has entered very dangerous territory.
Yes, the democracy have entered dangerous territories. And we are on a cusp of actually having a dictatorship in America. That's what it looks like. Let's go.
The United States is an anocracy for the first time in more than 200 years. Let that sink in. We are no longer the world's oldest continuous democracy. The question for America moving forward is whether voters can be persuaded that their democracy works and is critical to their safety, and whether leaders will choose to reinstate its guardrails. That is a quote from Barbara Walter, who joins me now. Barbara F. Walter is a professor.
Very strong statements that she made there. She's basically saying that, this government, as we know it, has become a totalitarian government. You know, there is no more democracy. The voting system is in shambles. You cannot believe its authenticity. You know, it seems to be a selection opposed to an election. And to add insult to injury, you know, the American dollar is the world's currency, and it's losing value. So where does that keep America? Where does that put us, the citizens? Let's go.
Professor of International Affairs at the University of California, San Diego. She's the author of the book, How Civil Wars Start and How to Stop Them. I want to talk to you about both those things, how they start, but really specifically how to stop them, because we don't want to see this happen in this country. Your book was published in 2022. How have you observed how things have changed in America since then? Are you still as worried as you were when you wrote those words that we quoted?
I'm still as worried, but for slightly different reasons. It's been a really interesting path since 2022, or actually 2020. When I wrote that quote about America no longer being the longest continuous democracy, when we entered the anocracy zone, that was after Trump's first term. That was at the end. It was right after the 2020 election, when for the first time in American history, a sitting president refused to accept the results of an election was actively trying to overturn them. That put America in the anocracy zone. Then we had January 6th.
That put us in a zone to allow public opinion via social media to dictate politics. That's what really is happening under the Trump administration. This is why they got X and they got these different social networks. And this is also the reason why they were banning Trump from various platforms. That was all by design. It was a script from the beginning to actually empower social media more with the voting process, as well as laws and policies. And, you know, some of the things they're doing are futuristic. And this is the reason why they're getting rid of the IRS as well, because they want a social credit system, because you will be in a dystopia, Black Mirror, social engineered world that you're living in. That's what it's going to be about. It's going to be about who likes you, how influential you can be, if you're asleep, if you're dormant, if you're docile, if you believe all the lies that the powers that be tell you, then you can be accepted in society to have certain perks in the 15-minute smart urban mobility cities, right? That's what it's coming to, right? It is happening right before our eyes. Let's go.
And everybody was wondering, okay, what's going to happen? And to my great happiness, Trump did leave office. We had a relatively peaceful transition, and we had a new administration in the White House that actually believed in the rule of law, believed in democracy, and America's democracy score rose. So
now we know Joe Biden is crooked, Kamala is crooked. We know that if for politicians' mouth moving, they're lying, right? We don't believe the presidents. We know that they're funded by lobbyists, and it's in their best interest to make as much money as they can. So listen, I'm not listening to nothing she's saying regarding that. I'm just making it clear that she is going to make some good points, and she has made good points. But let's go.
We got out of this anocracy zone. Today, we're back in it. So, and we're back in it, and we're likely to drop further than we were at the end of 2020. And that's because the second Trump administration is now actively going after many of the pillars of democracy. It's not respecting the rule of law in many cases, especially in terms of due process. These students who've been taken off.
Yeah, due process is done. It's either get down or lay down. It's going to be a dictatorship
of the streets and who've been detained and who have been sent to detention camps. They have all the legal rights of Americans, and yet the Trump administration is not honoring that. So there's a whole series of things that this administration is doing that is weakening.
Listen, Trump is not honoring nothing or nobody. He told Iran, if y'all don't sign on the dotted line for total transparency regarding y'all's weaponry. We finna blow y'all off the map. This is how he's coming at people. It's get down or lay down. And what that's going to do is it's going to cause a lot of problems with import and export. And the American citizens are going to have to take the brunt of what Trump has implemented. Now, I'm going to tell y'all right now, because I'm a solution-based brother, I'm always trying to give y'all some insight. And look, I'm going to tell y'all like this, right? You got to start to really liquidate your assets and purchase things that are tangible to you. Tangible things. And that is very, very important in this day and age. You got to stop frivolous spending. You got to be disciplined. You got to make sure that you're saving up, and you got to make sure that you're networking with decent people. You know, these are some of the things that you can do to start off or prepare for what is to come, because it's going to get real serious out here with these tariffs. And like the Bible says, it's going to come a time where a loaf of bread is a day's earning, a day's wages. So move accordingly.
America's democracy further, and we are declining. We are back in the synocracy zone.
You talk about the anocracy zone and the democracy score rising or falling. Could you just explain where that comes from? That this is just not your opinion, that there are a group of analysts and national security analysts here and elsewhere that actually look at democracies and they rate them.
Yeah, so I wrote this book because I'd served for 5 years on a task force run by the U.S. government. It's called the Political Instability Task Force, and it's been around since 1994. The goal of the task force was to help our government, the U.S. government, predict what countries around the world were likely to experience.
Listen, my fault, y'all. Let's go back a little bit.
At democracies, and they rate them.
Yeah, so I wrote this book because I'd served for 5 years on a task force run by the U.S. government. It's called the Political Instability Task Force, and it's been around since 1994. The goal of the task force was to help our government, the U.S. government, predict what countries around the world were likely to experience political instability and violence within the next 2 years. So
as you can see, there is parameter. Well, not even parameters. Let's use this word. There is certain mechanisms in place to ensure that America capitalizes off of any political dysfunction that other countries have. This woman right here worked in one of those task forces. So she's telling you from experience that they kind of understand the global climate to a degree. But listen to what she has to say.
Task force was comprised of two types of people. Half of them were experts on conflict and violence, like myself. We were scholars and academics, and half were data analysts. And when the data analysts put together their predictive model, they asked the experts to give them every possible factor, every hunch we might have about factors that might lead a country on the path to civil war. And
hey, yo, civil war is coming to America. I know people don't want to hear that. And I know a lot of people say that that's doom and gloom. And a lot of people get afraid when anybody is warning you to what's happening and what's to come. A lot of people like to slap the title fear mongering on that. My response to that is Moses a fear monger? Is Noah a fear monger? Is Christ a fear monger? I mean, Christ said, when you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, flee into the mountains. He happened to save a whole lot of people, y'all. Moses warned Pharaoh, let my people go, or these plagues are going to come and destroy y'all. Y'all firstborn son's going to get snatched. It's going to go down. Well, ladies and gentlemen, was he fear mongering, or was he warning Pharaoh to what's to come? I mean, after all, the plagues did come. And then we have Noah, who saved his family and only his family, because nobody else wanted to take heed. They wanted to party. They wanted to live it up. They wanted to act like nothing was going to happen. And they got caught up in the flood that came. Noah's family was safe and secure on the ark. So when somebody has an issue with the truth, you got to really question that. Now, also, the Bible says, let every man be a liar and let the word of God be true. So you got to question if a man's words line up with the word, exactly what the scriptures is saying. That is that man a liar? No, he's speaking prophetically. And according to the Bible, ladies and gentlemen, there will be a mark of the beast system. There will be austerity measures and a lack of bread. The book of Esdras talks all about it, how homes will be pillaged and rummaged, how there will be these purge 3 and purge 4 people out here in the streets. It also talks about a third of man falling. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the Bible. So all you brothers and sisters out there who be warning the world, y'all be warning people, but they call it doom and gloom, and they try to cast your visions and your dreams out as being evil. Just know you done your part. You done your part, and now the blood is not on your hands because you warned your people. Some of y'all show y'all's people these videos. You warn your friends, your family, your colleagues, associates, and nobody wants to hear it. They cast your name out as evil. Listen, one thing about it, ladies and gentlemen, is them people are not arguing with you. They're arguing with the word of God. And you got to know that, right? Now, as I was saying, civil war is coming to America, and a lot of people are not prepared for that, and a lot of people don't want to hear that. But a change is going to have to come because these corporate entities, these mega rich, diabolical, insidious beings are always up to some nefarious practices. And they're all about greed. And they don't care nothing about the general public. That's why eventually the people are going to revolt. But the issue with that is the people are not going to know who to revolt to. And it's going to be a lot of misplaced energy, bro, because people are getting tired. And the misplaced energy is going to go towards each other, exactly what the powers that be want to happen. Because these world leaders, listen, it's only a few of them, and you can fit them all in one room. And I think we've already seen them in one room, to be honest with you, in Trump's inauguration. That's right. But people are not going to gear their energy towards that. People are going to get desperate because it's all about survival, right? Civil war is imminent. It's just a matter of time, and we got plenty of time. Even though I'm talking about these things, a lot of y'all think it's going to happen today or the day after. No, listen, I know a lot of people believe that the 400 years of our captivity is already up. It's not. Really, slavery ended in the late 1800s. It's 2025. Listen, y'all, look, y'all, we got like 200 more years of this left. I mean, according to the Bible, right? It's going to be some time. But what we got to do is move forward on what we need to do to substantiate our children's children, right? Because like Malcolm X said, the future is for those who prepare for it. Anyway, let's go.
We gave them things like whether a country was poor, whether it had lots of immigrants, whether it was ethnically and religiously mixed, everything that we possibly thought could matter. And there were 38 factors. And as you mentioned earlier, when the analysts came back with their model, they said only 2 were highly predictive. And we, the experts, were very surprised. They were not the 2 factors we thought would be important. We thought it would be important if you had a population that was really angry at the government because it was really poor, or if you had groups that were heavily discriminated against. Those would be the people who would organize and rebel. And it turns out they're not. They're not. It turns out, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, it turns out that America was, to your surprise, had these predictive indicators. And people listening to this might be thinking, this can't possibly happen here. But one of the things that you've seen in your studies time after time, when it does happen in other countries, that people weren't expecting it. So
Yes.
God forbid that something like this ever happens here. So what can we do to prevent something like this from happening? And you've noted that social media has accelerated the conditions in the United States. So what role does social media play, and what can be done to bring this sort of predictive possibility?
What roles does social media play? Now, I want y'all to understand, this is a very key question right here. What roles does social media play in regards to bringing in a civil war in America? Listen again.
Do to prevent something like this from happening. And you've noted that social media has accelerated the conditions in the United States.
Social media have accelerated the conditions in the United States. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Social media is being used. Now, we knew that this was going to happen when they brought Elon Musk in to be the Department of Government Efficiency. Influence is very important through all of this. Let's go.
So what role does social media play, and what can be done to bring this sort of predictive possibility to tamp that down?
Yeah.
So we'll be looking at a brighter future.
Michelle, I used to think and this is still true, the simplest and easy way to tamp this down, to reduce the risk of political violence here in this country, would be to regulate social media. It's such an accelerant in terms of accelerating Americans' distrust of democracy.
And see, that's what they want to do. They want to regulate social media, and they've already started regulating it. And if they're going to regulate social media, that means there's going to be a social credit system. If I'm telling you, it's happening. If they are to regulate social media, that means they're going to be able to have control. They already have control through the algorithms and artificial intelligence. But we're talking about control on the next level. And ladies and gentlemen, if y'all gaining some understanding here, if you getting insight, do me a solid and hit the like button. You know, over here on this channel, I've been considered somewhat of a political analyst from a Bible perspective. But if you value what's being taught, thumb the video up. Somebody said, that's our First Amendment rights right there. Exactly. And that's why a lot of these protests are going on right now. But it seems very strange how organized they are. So what I want you to see here is that this woman right here, she's on the other side of the spectrum, and we're seeing it. We're seeing exactly what they're piecing together. On this side, all these things were already predicted. And now they're rolling it out. Let's go.
Democracy, therefore leading to the demise of democracy. It sows division within our country. It promotes sort of hate and anger. It gets people feeling as if they're threatened all the time, which makes them distrustful of each other. I no longer think that's the path forward. And that's because the 5 biggest tech companies in the world, all of which are in the United States, have resisted any sort of regulation in any way. They're not even willing to enforce their own content rules. So we're not going to get reform on social media anytime soon.
Yeah, man. So this is what's happening right now. And in case you're just joining the broadcast, there's been a lot of confusion in regards to, pardon me. Let's see. Let me get that right. Right. Here we go. There's been a lot of confusion in regards to what's happening with these tariffs and how it will affect the American citizens. Look, let me make this very clear. The tariffs is only going to benefit the rich. All right. On top of that, we're not ready for this whole tariff idea to actually stabilize in America. Look, this could be a fatal blow to Babylon. It could be, or it could really cause a lot of anarchy and chaos in the streets. And this is why we talk about getting ready. This is why we talking about practicing your Second Amendment. That's right. This is why we talk about networking. Now, I want to give y'all tangible ways to make it through this, because you may come out at the bottom or you may come out on top. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you like this. God's people are going to leave captivity plenteous and goods according to the scriptures. So if you living right and you taking heed to sound wisdom and you adhering to the Holy Spirit and you moving accordingly, you're going to come out of this thing just fine, right? So let me just put that out there, right? Yeah. Now, in the same breath, if you lackadaisical, if you're lethargic, if you believe every time somebody is giving you good information that can possibly help you, you believe that that's doom and gloom, and you believe that's something you should be afraid of, then unfortunately for you, because you want to make excuses for yourself, because you don't want to make the proper adjustments, you're going to have to deal with the consequences. Because a lot of times when you're telling somebody something, giving somebody information as a warning, the reason why they reject that is because they simply don't want to do what it takes to prepare for it. They don't want to take the certain trades they need to take. They don't want to get rid of some of the character flaws that they may have. They don't want to do anything towards their future. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to just tell y'all, some of y'all going to have to leave a lot of people behind because you have people like that. Just listen to how people talk. If you're around people and all they say is, I can't do this and I won't do that, because if I do this, this going to happen. And I can't do that. And I can't. And if I do this, this going to be a problem. And if I got to do that, then it's going to be a problem. If you're around people like that, get them people out your life. Cut them people off, bro. They're not going to make it through what's to come. Only the strong survive, and only those who speak life is going to make it through what's coming. I'm telling you that right now. Only those who are positive are going to be able to make it where we going, right? Yep. Too many excuses, too many people who don't want to, take heed to sound wisdom and apply certain things to their life, right? But I'm going to give y'all a little bit of something tangible here. I want you to listen to this here, because more than likely, this is what we're going to be looking at real soon.
We're seeking permanent income tax cuts all across the board.
Trump's plan to unalive the IRS just hit Congress. And if it goes through, it means no more income tax, no more payroll tax. And this is the actual bill right here. You can go to congress.gov and read it for yourself. And before you think this is a win for the people, let me go ahead and break it down for you on the board, because this is either going to help you stack more bread or it's going to leave you worse off than where you started. Here's how we're taxed right now. You make $100. The government is going to snatch 25% of that right off the top. What you're left with is $75. Then you go out and spend this on necessities like groceries, gas, whatever it is. This is called your sales tax. And this might be about 7% average across the country. Some states don't have sales tax. So you made $100, but at the end of the day, it really feels like you only made $69.75 because everybody is getting their money. So here's what it's going to be like under the new tax system, what they call the fair tax system. So you got your same paycheck of $100. Only this time, there is no taxes. Instead of an income tax, they're going to have a sales tax. And this sales tax is going to be about 23% inclusive. You're still going to end up with the final value of your money being $76.92. Now, don't let the 23% fool you, because that's marketing, because in real life, that works out to about 30% at the register. So let's just say you were buying a TV that was $100. You're actually going to be paying about $130 out of pocket. So who wins and who loses? Well, the winners are going to be anybody who's making $120,000 a year or more, spending less than $50,000 a year. The losers are going to be anybody making less than $50,000 a year, and you're spending most of your money just to survive. You're going to feel that 30% tax on almost everything you touch. And considering the fact that the average household income is about $66,000 a year, we're likely going to have a lot more losers than winners. Now, before you flip out and start calling the president everything but a child of God, every month they're going to send you a check called a prebate based on your household size. What it's supposed to do is cover the sales tax you pay on things like food, rent, clothes, all the basic stuff. So if you got a family of 4, you get almost $800 a month, which comes out to about $10,000 a year, just to offset the tax on your basic needs. But once your spending goes over that line, you're back in the tax zone. Now, what actually gets taxed? So not taxed used items, rent, mortgage, insurance premiums, utilities. In most states, I can probably guarantee that California and New York, they're going to be taxing us. Healthcare paid through insurance premiums. Education, this is a big one. Business expenses, might be a good time to start a business. And investments, always a good time to invest. Now here's everything that will be taxed. So new electronics, new clothes, going out to a restaurant and meals. So I'm gonna have to chill out on DoorDash. New cars, new homes, haircuts, personal services. Haircuts is already $100 for a cut. Might have to learn how to cut some hair. So if you're building something like a business, you're going to end up keeping a lot more of your money because this bill, assuming it goes through, it's going to change the game for everybody. So don't get caught slipping out there and don't wait till this becomes law and you're not prepared. So if you enjoyed this breakdown, go ahead and follow me for more and tag somebody who needs to know before they found out.
Hey, should a man rob the poor, man? You know, the Bible tells us that the rich should be the ones who get charged, you know, to keep them humble. But it seems that they stressing out the poor, man. And look, I like the fact that the brother brung solution. If you're a business owner, don't just start an LLC like most people, right? Get financially literate, y'all. Come on now. You know how many people just be, I live in Atlanta, so people just be having LLCs just to be having them. Like they just, you know, I got my own business. You got an LLC, okay. But that's the extent of what they know. And they don't really go further down the rabbit hole, right? So even if you're going to get an LLC, you know, take some type of financial literacy courses because there's information that the rich and wealthy know that we don't know. And it's all about how you move your money around. That's all it's about. Because they got us out here robbing Peter to pay Paul while they are living high off the hog. You know what I'm saying? And you can learn something from those people. Even Donald Trump, you can learn from him. It's a reason why they couldn't touch his taxes. So I'm telling you now, he's running things the way he see fit, and it's going to be beneficial to those who are really calculated, as well as people who are willing to take the necessary steps to adapt. So to some people, you know, we're going to be all right because you even going to swim or you're going to drizzle. You know what I'm saying? That's what it boils down to. You see what direction the world is going in. Just like 500 billion on artificial intelligence. Somebody got to work on these robots. Somebody got to be mechanics. Somebody got to do the diagnostics on the robots that's coming. I'm telling you, you know, there will be jobs eventually. There will be a lot of jobs. You just got to know how to adapt. But at the same time, what comes with that? What comes with adapting to the system so much where you're now one with the matrix? Because that's what I want you to avoid. See, whatever job you working, whatever you're doing, that should be used to fund your actual passion, what it is you need to do and what it is you want to do. A lot of people lose sight of that because they cutting you a check, not understanding that, hey, money is fragile, right? It's not promised. It's a lot of uncertainty. Proverbs 11:28. Those who trust in their riches will fall, but the righteous will thrive like a green leaf. A reminder that wealth is fragile and righteousness is the true foundation of flourishing. So really, what you got to focus on is your righteousness. The respect that you have, your name, how you treat people, integrity, morality, the things that's going to matter in a fallen system that's severed by warfare. You got to be able to conduct yourself with people. You got to be able to survive. And it's all about respect. And a lot of people don't have that because the American system has trained people to be selfish. It's trained people to be entitled. It has trained people to be, you know, all about themselves, all about whatever benefits themselves. Don't be like them people because you won't make it at the end. If you're not doing good business with good people, you're not fitting to make it. Telling you right now, somebody said, It ain't about the money, it's what you're doing with the money. That part. A lot of people out here being wasteful. It's time to tighten up, man. It's time to understand that the recession is coming. The recession is coming. It's imminent. Matter of fact, we're gonna go there. I was gonna go to Barack Obama, but who cares? Forget Barack Obama ain't in the title, right? Who cares, right? But I do want to talk about this recession that's coming. So you know that it is coming because through karmatic debt, they have to tell you what's going to happen. So you'll be prepared for it. Now, let me see. Tariffs, recession. There we go. And yeah. I mean, we already seen the impact that it has had on the stocks and the economy inside. The economy insiders are going crazy right now about this story, man. It's so much. It is so much to look at here, but we're gonna go to a quick one, right? Yeah, them tariffs are doing some damage. And look, ladies and gentlemen, we are almost over 1,000 people in the room. Do me a favor, hit the like button, and let's get it.
And Neil, I was struck by what the European Union representative talked about, a reaction to this. She said there is no order to the disorder. The formula, Neil, that the president used, are you clear on the numbers there?
And also, look, there's a lot of federal jobs about to get sliced and diced. A lot of federal jobs. And that's what makes me believe that this protest, this global mobilization that we're seeing, it makes me believe that the feds got something to do with it. How many of y'all believe the same? I don't know. Somebody says, hi, I love listening to you and getting the news because I don't listen to fake news. And also your word of the truth of the Father above. Thank you. I'm glad that I'm able to be some assistance. And we got over 1,000 in the building. Salute to y'all. Every time y'all keep it 1,000, we go over 1,000. Let's go to Joel 2:23. It says, be glad, people of Zion. Rejoice in the Lord God, for he has given you the autumn rains because he is faithful. He sends you abundant showers, both autumn and spring rains. That's right. And that's what I'm saying, man. We ain't worried about nothing. We got our popcorn ready. We got our libations. We looking at a civil war come to America, but we're going to move appropriately. We're going to move accordingly, right? Over here, you dealing with the fearless. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, the math is actually surprisingly simple. What they did is divided the trade deficit with any given country by the amount of exports to the U.S. that country has, and use that as a starting point to then divide by 2 and come up with the rate on any given country. What's unusual about that is, they talk about these reciprocal tariffs as trying to get back at countries for a bunch of policies we don't like, not just tariffs, not just non-tariff barriers, but value-added taxes. And
how many of y'all ready to pay $5,000 for the new iPhone? How many of y'all ready to pay a crazy amount for groceries that we already been paying? How about fabrics and clothes? Man, bro, look, you got to get to it, y'all. Stay focused on your bread. Anybody out here not trying to, do something? No people out here who don't want to cooperate and work together to try to build something. Listen, there's so many ways to make money out here these days, man. All you need is good people in your circle that'll put you on and y'all can go into business together. That's all you need, man. All you need is a strong foundation. If y'all got a family, if y'all family is cool, y'all tight knit, start that business and don't play with it. I'm talking about start that business and don't play with it. You're going to need some money. You're going to need it. That's why the Bible says money is a defense. Because that time is coming. But you got to have the relationships. The relationships are more important than the money. The relationships is everything. Let's go.
monetary policy and currency policy that the U.S. doesn't like. But instead of going through country by country and doing a kind of surgical approach to, okay, these are the policies we don't like out of Vietnam or Japan or Norway, name it, they instead did this broad brush way of kind of using simple math to place these tariffs. I think that's a little bit of a warning sign that we might not have the off-ramps we thought we did. If it's just a broad-based calculation, not a kind of targeted thing, what do you even negotiate over if you're a country trying to get out of these tariffs?
Yeah, and Jeff, how long do you think the president or the White House predicts it's going to take for this economic gamble to pay off for them?
They calling it an economic gamble. How long do they expect for it to pay off for them? That's the $1 million question.
You know what? I hesitate to say they don't care, but I don't think they have a timeline. I think to some extent they don't care, and that the president and his advisors are just fully convinced that this is the right thing to do.
Man, it's going to take a couple years, bro. Couple years of higher inflation. We talking about a couple years of hyperinflation. Now I want to see what Barack Obama talking about. Because I see everybody's talking about it. I'm getting a breaking news, right? I might as well cover it right now. Maybe I crop it into a video, my reaction, because everybody's building on this right now. So just give me a moment. Let's see what Barack Obama is talking about. Former U.S. President Barack Obama has broken his silence on Donald Trump 2.0. Oh, man. What you got to say, Obama? I don't like when they do this, bro. When they do the news and it's just music. Hold on, this is what we're going to do. We're going to find out what Barack Obama said. Let me pull it up, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Why Barack Obama always sitting with his legs crossed? Like the way his leg. Bro, why that man legs always crossed like that, bro? And then he be moving his leg. Let me show y'all what I'm talking about. Hold on, let me pull this up, yo. Why this man always sitting like this, bro? I'm just saying. Just something I noticed, right? Like, look how this man sit. Yo, come on, man. Let's stop playing, man. I don't mean to be facetious, man, but come on, bro. Yo, look. First of all, yo, look at them high waters on them pants, bro. Hold on, man. We got to zoom in on this, bro. Bro, look. Hold on. Let me remove my banner real quick, bro. I can't, bro. Hold on real quick. Hold on, man. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this. Hold up. Let me remove my banner real quick. Because I just want y'all to see this. Hold on. Damn, how you do it? Just look how it's. All right, yo. We're going to see what Barack Obama talking about, bro. Why that man sitting extra zesty like that? I don't know, man. But anyway, let's go.
More precious, which is, who are we?
Who are we? You sound terrified. Barack Obama sounds terrified about what's going on. Who are we? Look, this is America. You ain't heard? This is America. America is about to go through the purge. You ain't know? You helped get us there.
Which is, who are we as a country, and what values do we stand for? And now, this is not just an abstraction, and I think this is one of the challenges that we have. And I saw this even before the last election. I think people tend to think democracy, rule of law, independent judiciary, freedom of the press, that's all abstract stuff because it's not affecting the price of eggs. Well, you know what? It's about to affect the price of eggs. One of the things,
you know, everybody always talks about how Barack Obama is a good orientator, bro. I have to strongly disagree with that. Everybody always talking about how articulate this guy is. I'm going to have to strongly disagree with that, man. I don't know. I've always thought that. It is what it is, though. Let's go.
That has distinguished us in the past has been this basic idea that we are a rules-based society. What that means is that, you know what, I can support one candidate instead of another, and I don't have to worry that the police are going to come harass me or
what? What this boy talking about?
My customers. That's what happens in other places. That's what happens in Russia.
Hey, yo, I don't care what Barack Obama talking about, man. Look, this is all nonsense. Just yapping. Like, what is he talking about?
We take for granted the idea that we don't have to pay bribes or hire somebody's cousin in order to get a business permit. That's how we build the.
Hey, it is what it is. I know that Barack Obama is jealous he's not in the White House right now, but when he was in the House, only thing he really did was give us cash for clunkers and support gay marriage. That's all I could think of, and give us that damn Medicaid, that high ass interest rate on that Medicaid. Other than that, I don't even know why Barack Obama find a need to insert himself in anything that's going on right now. I really don't even want to cover it. It's not he's talking about. Same old. But yeah, he just talking, man. The man just talking. Somebody said, yeah, meanwhile, he's sitting on millions. Exactly. I believe it's all street theater, man. Politics is just to play us against each other and cause more confusion, right? Let me see. Somebody said, find ways to control the environment to grow crops year round. Right. Somebody said, we were born in the world and we are far from different countries, but the same world, right? And these protests are happening worldwide right now. Somebody said, disagree button. Hey, it's called a thumbs down. Hit thumbs down. You know, somebody says, I know a Mason intelligence agent who has been hoarding eggs since 2013. See, but guess what? Back in 2013, people was like, something wrong with you. What you sitting here stashing eggs for? But guess what now? Guess what? He the man now, ain't he? People get it now, right? That's how it always is. People will be looking and be like, yo, why is this dude doing that? Some of y'all wonder why y'all's folks back in the day always kept mason jars. Always kept them mason jars. Always kept some food on deck. Always knew how to freeze food. Always knew how to flash freeze. Dry seal, vacuum seal food. Y'all was thinking that's crazy. And then till one day you're going to find out that them people are on point. That's how we go. That's how we go. Man, somebody says the Most High finna combine both sticks. Northern and Southern Kingdom stand up. That's right. That's how it's going to go. Man, praises to the Most High. I'm glad y'all catching another broadcast, man. If y'all like my material and want to support it, my Cash App is in the description box, New Breed Global Truth 77. I do appreciate donations. It helps out with the work that I do. And it's a lot of traveling required to get the land initiative right where it needs to be. So if y'all want to support my work, feel free to support it. Or you can support by going on newbreed.love and picking you up some merchandise, man. I got t-shirts, I got caps, I got stickers for the kids. You got everything. Just go over there and do your little search and see what you come up with. Anyway, man, thank each and every one of y'all for tuning in. I want y'all to have a blessed evening. With that being said, shalom and peace.